Welcome to the Community Difference-Rockwall. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. And sponsored by Delisa Lapinsky Realty Group. Speak Easy Bar and Restaurant. V1 Bank. Sunray Bookkeeping Services. The One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Barnaby Heating and Air. Minuteman Press of Rockwall. And by WeatherTech General Contracting.
The Community Difference-Rockwall was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference-Rockwall starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Community Difference-Rockwall. I'm Lendon Wilson, the creator of the Difference Media LLC. Through the Difference Media LLC, we have created the Community Difference series. We have a nonprofit showcase called The Difference Makers, an internet radio station, 2940 The Difference. It plays a mix of music, plus it does replays of our Community Difference shows. And then we have also Pod Connect, where it is a business networking group. Speaking of Pod Connect, we are having a Community Difference / Pod Connect happy hour tonight at the football field bar and grill in Wiley. So if you are a business professional or just want to know about the community shows, come on out. It's off of 78, right by the Walmart there. So hope to see everybody there. Happy that you're all joining us today. Looking forward to another great show. This is the third show for Rockwall. We just kicked Rockwall off. We've got Denton going. Denton's probably 2 months in now. We've got Wiley going. We're working on Frisco. We had Frisco going for a little bit and then had some hiccups with it. We're about to bring that back on air now. And then also Plano. I'm looking at McKinney and actually Gainesville. I had a conversation this morning with a friend from up in that area. So if you've got a community that has some outstanding people, and most all of them do, and you want to be able to showcase and highlight the amazing things and amazing people and places within that community, get in touch with us. There'll be something a little bit later where you can see how to contact us, but get in touch with us. Let us know, because we'd love to put a show together for you as well. So enough about that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in our co-hosts. We have co-hosts on each show. Co-hosts help sponsor the show, make it possible, our local small businesses. So today we are graced with the presence of Delisa Lapinsky and Rynae Calder. How are you, ladies?
Hey, doing good.
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm busy. I'm loving it. Sometimes, and sometimes I'm not. But you know, you get what you pray for, right? Sometimes. So I'm not going to complain. And there's Nathan. Nathan's part of the Pod Connect, and also he's hosted many of the community shows. Actually helped us get the Plano show going. Thank you for watching, Nathan. Appreciate you tuning in.
Hey, Nathan.
And Nathan will be there tonight as well. So
Awesome.
Everybody come out and meet Nathan. So Rynae, this is your third podcast. You did the Wiley show with us. You're part of our community group and the Master Networks group in Wiley. And you and I got to talking, and you've got some roots out there in Rockwall. And so I talked you into
You did.
getting on the Rockwall show. It's not something that everybody just feels natural doing, but it really becomes, it's a lot easier than some people think. I think that y'all could, share that experience. But you get to talk to some amazing people. You get to meet some amazing people. You guys have brought some guests on today. Can't wait to get them involved. But before we do, I'm going to let Delisa go first and tell just a little bit about who you are and what you do, Delisa.
Great. Thank you so much, Lendon. I am a local real estate agent. I have my own team here in the Rockwall area. It's Delisa Lapinsky Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty, where I serve Rockwall, Roy City, Fate, Heath, all of the areas that really we're going to be talking about.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for not only being on today, but just being a part of what we're doing for the businesses, the local businesses in Rockwall communities and surrounding communities. Rynae, what about you? Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for just letting me have this opportunity. I'm so excited about being here. So Rynae Calder and I own Sunray Bookkeeping Services. We're a virtual bookkeeping service working with all kinds of different business owners. We customize our packages based upon what the client needs and what their industry is. So we track their income, expenses, we do invoicing, payroll, sales tax, bank reconciliations, everything that you need just to hand over to your CPA at the end of the year, but also gives you those monthly financials so that you can make good business decisions.
So quick question for you. Have you ever met any entrepreneur that loved doing their own books?
You know what? I would love to give a shout out to a lady. She's in North Richland Hills, and I am doing a cleanup for her right now, and there's hardly anything for me to do. And so she has done an awesome, great one. But everyone, Caitlin, that's Vessel on our Wiley show. She does a great job. Every once in a while, she'll call me and say, "Hey, can you just check on this?" And I'll check it. And I'm like, "Girl, you got it."
I that doesn't surprise me about Caitlin because she is so meticulous and so disciplined. So that's awesome. I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. But I promise you, that is one of the nightmare, and it only gets worse, right? Once you get behind, you just don't want to. I don't know. I think
you do a lot of cleanups.
I bet you do. I bet you do. I'm probably going to have to talk to you after. Of course, I just got my taxes filed finally, but I'm the more I'm thinking about it, the more we talk, I'm probably going to have to become one of your clients. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do it. It's just like I don't want to hear the bad news, Or you come back and tell me, Lendon, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I won't do that.
My first year in the business, I literally took a shoebox with all of my receipts from the year to my CPA, and they just looked at me like, "What have you been doing?" So no, Rynae, thank you for saving all of us.
Well, hey, I was a realtor for 14 years before I started this business, and so I understand about all of that. Did the same.
So I just changed banks because this bank tracks so much of what you do. And I know a lot of them do that now. The one that I had didn't. It was still up to me. And yeah, you can put it in a spreadsheet and you can get it all. But this, I mean, when there's a deposit goes in and what you train it, right? It's kind of like this AI thing. You start to train it and it starts to identify what goes where. But everything that happens, whether it's a deposit or debit, anything, it asks me, what was this? And I have to do it. And then as it kind of gets an idea, it'll start doing it for itself. But I thought, well, if I end up hiring Rynae, which I probably will, at least I'll be a little bit, ahead of the game with some of this. Maybe a little bit too bad.
Right.
Okay. Well, ladies, real quick, we've got, we're about halfway through our first segment. I want you to introduce your guests and tell everybody a little bit about them. Then we'll give them a chance to talk about themselves as well. So, Delisa, you want to go first?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lendon. So I'd like to introduce Rick Stevens. He is the Director of Operations for Patriot Paws. And I'll let Rick tell you a little bit more about Patriot Paws, but they provide service dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders, sometimes at no cost to our veterans. They have given and sacrificed so much for our country, and sometimes they need extra help, and Rick and his team are there to help them out.
All right. Rynae, tell us a little bit about your guest.
Yeah, thank you. So I have Jamie Holton, and she owns the Miles Mercantile. It's a local boutique in both Rockwall downtown and Cato Mills. She's also a member of the Downtown Rockwall Association, and then she was just telling us about about a charitable giving organization called the 100 Women of Cato Mills that she's heavily involved in as well.
Awesome.
Happy to have you.
We're gonna let ladies first, Rick. So you'll have to just bear with me a second. Jamie, it's great to have you on. Tell everybody some things that Rynae didn't get a chance to tell. Tell us about yourself and your business.
Hi, thank you for having me on. I am, first of all, I'm a mom of 3, and that, I know a lot of times, well, I'll say this. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I decided, I want to start my own business, and I don't want to have to put my kids in daycare. I want to have a job that I can bring my kids to. And my kids come with me to work, and my kids help me in my job, and my kids are there for the whole process of getting inventory ready, the whole thing, going with me to shows. So that covers that. And then, I opened the store in Cato Mills in 2022, and then opened the store in Rockwall at the beginning of this year. And we are a full service women's boutique. We carry all sizes, small through 3X. We carry shoes, we carry accessories, we carry home decor, and we are huge on holiday. We are huge on Christmas. We will have the whole store flipped at the end of the month for Christmas. We're so excited about that.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being here. Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself and Patriot Paws.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Rick Stevens. I'm the Director of Operations at Patriot Paws. A little bit about myself. I'm a husband and a father. Two of my most favorite roles ever. Outside of that, started my career with the sheriff's office, did a few years in law enforcement, and then after a little bit of a rumble and a tumble, ended up managing big box retail stores for a long time. And then after that, I never intended to be in the nonprofit sector, but my mother is the founder of Patriot Paws. And after COVID, I was transitioning from one job to another, and she asked me to come work for her with my business expertise. So obviously I took her up on it with the family business. So I've been with Patriot Paws now for about 4 going on 5 years. And it's been the best job I've ever had. A little bit about Patriot Paws. Patriot Paws is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to train and provide service dogs of the highest quality to disabled veterans who suffer from physical disabilities or mental disabilities that may hinder them being a productive member of society after serving our country. So our mission is to train those service dogs of the highest quality to help them and rehabilitate them back into society. And we do all of that free of charge. So just a little bit about me and what we do.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, thanks everybody for being here. We're going to go ahead real quick and take our first break. When we get back, we're going to do a segment that we call What's Up Rockwall?
What's Up Rockwall?
And we're going to talk to our guests and our co-hosts a little bit about what's happening within Rockwall and surrounding areas. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference is a new series of shows powered by the Difference Radio live stream and podcast network. This series of shows was designed to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. And we wanted to create a platform that brings awareness to and reminds folks of the goodness that lives within so many of us. By working with the local community leaders, business owners, first responders, veterans, schools, and citizens, we want to unite with a clear and selfless purpose. The Community Difference seeks to spotlight the people, events, and activities that are producing positive outcomes, inspirational stories, and incredible experiences. In a world that is consumed with negative press, media manipulation, and propaganda, The Difference, along with many others who believe and support The Difference, understands there is no better way to make the difference than to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. We are currently searching for local communities to be the focus of our shows, but before we can launch a show in your community, we need your help. We need you along with local business leaders, chambers of commerces, major nonprofits, online community group leaders, networking groups, etc. to join us in making the difference in helping your community be seen, be heard, and be remembered. So, if you would like to know how you, your business, school, social media community, church, or your favorite nonprofit organization can be a part of this unique and powerful program, reach out to us today and introduce yourself and let us know how you would like to contribute and bring awareness to the amazing people, places, and events that are making the difference in the community you love. You can call us at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com.
And now, back to the show.
All right, we are back. Thanks for everybody for sticking around. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Charlie Barnaby. He is another local business owner, Barnaby Heating and Air. He's also a sponsor and co-host. He was on last week. Charlie, thank you for watching today, and thank you for supporting the Community Difference-Rockwall. So now we've got our segment that we call What's Up Rockwall?
What's up, Rockwall?
And this is where I give our co-hosts and guests, if they want to participate, some airtime to talk about some amazing people, places, or activities that are going on in Rockwall. Who wants to go first?
I've got a couple.
All right.
Of course, this is the big weekend for Aspasians. They're going to be down at the stadium, which is a huge event. Then also they have this weekend going on in Royce City, Fun Fest. So if you haven't been down to Fun Fest, it's a lot of fun. And then Rick, I know you guys have a big event coming up here. I'll let you talk about when you get there. But one of the things I ran into just by surprise. So I live in Fate, and the downtown area is really beginning to grow and happen and all that. Well, there's a little place called Beer Geeks, and there's a courtyard right next to it. And then on Friday and Saturdays, they've got live music out there. So it's a lot of fun to just go and hang out and go into Beer Geeks, get you some craft beer, and then come on out and watch some music.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that, because those are the type of things that we want people that may not be from Fate or Rockwall or close to hear about, because sometimes, we're all trying to figure out what we can do this weekend. We don't know what to do. We don't really want to stay at home or in our own communities. We want to go somewhere, but not too far. And being able to hear what's going on in these towns around us, and the revitalization of these downtowns is just so cool. I was talking to my friend from Gainesville. Gainesville's really working on building their downtown area. Obviously, Rockwall has done a great job. Wiley's done a good job. Frisco, I don't know if y'all been there, but it's amazing. So we really want to be able to remind people of some of the just incredible things that are happening. Rynae, what do you have for us?
Well, I know there's so many of the Halloween and Fall Fest stuff coming up. I did see that they got the Scare in the Square, I guess, next weekend. It's not this coming next week or this week. Well, I guess it's on the 28th. So downtown Rockwall, so that'll be coming up. I actually live in Saxe, and we're having the Saxe Fall Fest this coming Saturday. So that is happening.
All right. Okay, Rick, what do you got?
Patriot Paws, I'll get into a little bit of the detail of what goes into this, I guess, late in a later segment. But this Friday, we are having our graduation, and what that is where 5 of our nation's heroes will be placed with their service dogs, at least hopefully for the next 10 years at least. So that's a ceremony that we call graduation. It takes us 2 to 2.5 years to train these dogs, and they're coming to their graduation. And we've had veterans that are getting their dogs this Friday that have waited upwards of 2 years to receive this dog. So it's going to be a big moment. It'll be an emotional day where these dogs get placed, at least for the next 10 years, hopefully, with these veterans. So that'll be this Friday at 1 o'clock here in Rockwall at the Patriot Paws headquarters off of Horizon at 254 Ranch Trail is our address. Additionally, in October 28th, we have our annual or biannual gala. That is going to be at 6 p.m. at Boyd Farms. Tickets are for sale on our website. If you go on patriotpaws.org and you go to events, you can find the gala page. We have the Emerald City Band playing for us, and the theme for the gala is a night in Emerald City. in which it's going to be Wizard of Oz themed. And if anybody's wondering what the dress code is, because sometimes those things are a little touchy, it's come ready to party. We've had a lot of questions on what that means, but we wanted people to be comfortable. The original dress code was a country chic, and I was like, nobody knows what that is. So we just made it easy. So that's going to come up on October 28th. The only other thing that Patriot Paul's has coming up, it's not until the spring of next year, because obviously we're coming to the end of the year here, but spring of next year, right now it's on the calendar for April 5th. We're having our first ever clay shoot. We're very excited about. We have some big sponsors that wanted to put this on for us, something we've never done before, but we're really excited. And I know there's a lot of organizations in Rockwall that throw clay shoots, and so we're really excited to have that community out and just raise awareness and sponsor some of these dogs so that we can help change lives here.
Now, where's that clay shoot going to be?
We don't know yet. We're still in the process phase, but as of right now, the venue that we have reserved is at the Dallas Gun Club. And it should be on April 5th, but we're still ironing out the details in regards to catering and times and number of shooters and things like that. But something that these sponsors that are putting this on for us have thrown many clay shoots for many charities in the past, so we trust them completely, and we're very excited to join, in partnership with them and have our first clay shoot ever.
Awesome. Jamie, do you have anything?
I do. Actually, we will be at Aspasian's on Saturday from 8 to 5. So come and see us. We'll be out there all day. And then we have for downtown Rockwall, for the Scare on the Square, just in case you don't know what that is. Obviously, it's trick-or-treating, but it's so much more. We have a not-so-scary pop-up market with some really cool vendors that are going to be there. We have bounce houses for the kids, just all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot more than just trick-or-treating, though there is that. And then right now for downtown Rockwall, we're getting ready for a couple of big things. One is our holiday open house, and that is on November the 9th. And to prepare for that, the ladies need to get a stocking, because participating stores like mine and many others, when you make a $20 purchase, you get an amazing stocking stuffer. So you can either, get together with your girlfriends and make your stockings together, or you can, just bring your favorite stocking or buy a stocking. But we're also selling commemorative downtown Rockwall stockings that have the year and everything on them, and they're $20. You can buy those online, and then the proceeds from that will go to our scholarship foundation. So keep that in mind as well. And then the final thing is we are selling our tickets for our holiday home tour, and that is December 8th and 9th, Friday and Saturday. I believe that's the 8th and 9th. And those tickets are $25, and you choose the day that you want to go see. There's 5 homes this year for the holiday home tour.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Real quick, Charlie Barnaby, Hacienda del Centro, Rowlett, they're going to have live music on Fridays and Saturday evenings starting this weekend. So, Charlie, I'm sure they appreciate you giving them that shout out. So I want to thank everybody for contributing to the What's Up Wiley segment. What we're going to do now is we're going to get into, we've got about 7 minutes before our next break. And I want to get now into a conversation with Jamie and with Rick, a little bit more on a personal / professional level about what brought them to where they are today, and what got them in this business. So I'm going to go first, and Rynae and Delisa, just ask any questions you want of them as well. But I'm going to start with Rick on this one, because Rick kind of made me think about myself a little bit when he talked about I was never with the first responders or police or anything like that. But you said you went from that to retail. What was that transition like? Because the reason I say that is because my transitions have been just opposite ends of everything, right? And people are like, how did that lead you here? And it's always an interesting story. So just talk a little bit about what led you to where you are today.
So that's why I said it was a little bit of a rumble and a tumble. I never expected to go from I never anticipated getting into law enforcement to begin with. Let's put it that way. I actually intended to be a band director at a high school. I went to school for music education, and then on a whim applied for the sheriff's office with my best friend. And honestly, I think I'm the only one that passed the polygraph. I think that's the only reason that I made it. I went through with, 20, 40 guys, and next thing I know, I'm the only one left. And I think it's just because I had great parents growing up. I was raised well, and I tried to be a good kid. So when it got to it, all these people were dropping like flies out of the polygraph. All of a sudden, I'm the only one that come out of the woodwork, I guess, because I had a father that would beat my rear end if I did anything wrong. So anyway, started at the sheriff's office, but there's another piece to begin with. That is, I worked for J.C. Penney as a teenager. As I was 16 until all the way through college, I worked for J.C. Penney, and I worked in their loss prevention department, which back then was a lot more robust than it is now, because nobody can stop shoplifters without getting sued. So back then, we used to be able to tackle people to the ground and take whatever we wanted back from them that they took from the store. Now they can't do that. They can't even touch them anymore. So I started at J.C. Penney when I was 16, made great connections there. I was very lucky here at the Rockwall store at J.C. Penney. And a lot of those connections made it to the corporate office. And by that point, I had moved on to law enforcement. Well, it's a very simple transition from law enforcement to retail, because my wife got into law school and got a scholarship at a private Baptist law school by the name of Samford University at Cumberland School of Law in Birmingham, Alabama. And when you get a scholarship for law school, you don't say no. So I was with the sheriff's office, and she approached me one day, and she was like, "Hey, I got into law school in Alabama." And so I had to make some jumps, and I interviewed with multiple different law enforcement agencies in Alabama, and learned very quickly that law enforcement in different states don't make the same.
Right.
Alabama wanted to pay me about less than half of what I was making here in Texas, and supporting my wife through law school, that wasn't going to work. So I had a buddy reach out to me that worked for J.C. Penney, that when I was there at 16, he said, "Hey, we're looking for a district loss prevention manager at our store over here that would kind of fit something you've already done, kind of go with your law enforcement experience." And so I took him up on that. I don't enjoy retail, just being honest. We talk about work-life balance, and when you work for a corporation, especially a Fortune 500 company, or JCPenney was at the time, no longer, there's very little work-life balance, especially when you're at the upper management level. And so my district expanded for the entire state of Alabama into Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, and the panhandle of Florida. So I was all over the place all the time. And so I was stressed. My wife would come home from law school, and, I would not be the best version of myself and the best husband I could be, because of how stressed and how much I was going all over the place. I would see her maybe twice a week, because I was staying in hotels all over the place, going to these different stores. And then COVID happened. And then once COVID happened, my wife finished law school, and we decided to move back to the Dallas area. I was born and raised in Roy City, Texas, just outside of Rockwall. And I took a job with Nordstrom Rack as a district manager here in the Dallas area. But before I even got started on that, my mother knew that I did not want to go back into retail, but I really didn't have a choice. I was trying to work my way back into the sheriff's office, but the sheriff had changed, and therefore there was not as many opportunities to get in from an outside perspective. So that being said, my mother offered me a position to come help out at Patriot Paul's, and it was only meant to be temporary until I could work my way back into law enforcement. And once I got here and realized how my quality of life changed, and was able to see a difference in the community in which I was trying to serve, I never left. And so here I am today.
That's awesome. So you mentioned Samford, the Samford Bulldogs. I happen to know a little bit about them. When I was in college, way back many years ago, we played Samford down there in Birmingham. It's one of the most beautiful campuses that you could imagine. It is absolutely gorgeous. But
it's gorgeous.
You mentioned Samford to a lot of people. They have no idea what you're talking about. But
yeah, they think you mean Stanford. But yeah, it's
right.
Sam, S-A-M.
Well, see, I got excited when we played them. I played college football, and when I when I heard it, I didn't see it on the schedule. I heard it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're playing Stanford all the way out there. And I no, this is some little bitty school in Alabama. But it just happened to be about 98 degrees that day too. I will never forget it. It was miserable. But
yeah, in Alabama, humidity is different than Texas humidity, believe it or not.
yes, sir, it is. Absolutely. So, well, Jamie, tell us a little bit about you. I want to know what led you to where you are today. You said you're a mom of 3.
Yes.
How did you get started doing what you're doing? What led you there? What was the inspiration behind it? Is there a crazy story? What do we need to know?
Well, it's funny you're talking about Alabama because that's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
And, talking about Sanford, I remember being like 12 or 13 and we went over there to do pictures or something. And the whole time I also thought it was Stanford. And then I was like, I always thought Stanford was up north. And I was very confused. So same story here. But yes, I did grow up in Alabama. And then ended up at Texas A&M. So that's what got me to Texas. And I've been in Texas ever since college. And right out of college, I got a degree in English and I went to work for, it was Countrywide at the time and later Bank of America. And I worked there for 12 years. And then, I had my kids and I said, I'm going to stay home with them. And I did that for a while. And, then they got older, didn't need me as much. And from the time I was very young, and I think most little girls like to quote unquote play store. And I had always loved just merchandising and I love shopping. I really love shopping. So, it's just always kind of there as a dream. And then finally one day we said, hey, let's go for it. And kind of started out online first because that's way easier to do than to find an actual storefront. And, there was a storefront in Caddo that I had my eye on. And it was kind of difficult to get the person who had it to give it to me, but I was very persistent, not give it to me. Obviously I pay for it, but I was very persistent. I want this location. I don't want this to sit empty any longer, and I'm trying to not be annoying, but I'm being persistent. And so we opened that location, and downtown Caddo Mills is quite small. There's not much there. It's not like downtown Rockwall at all. And then we had that store going, and then someone said, you should be in Rockwall. And they presented me with a building that they had seen that was available. And so I pursued that, got that building, and then opened that store at the beginning of this year. And we really love downtown Rockwall. I can't say enough good things about my neighbors and the community there and the downtown association, and just the way that even though Rockwall is a big city, I mean, not a huge city, but it's 50,000 population, it still feels like a small town. Yep. And we absolutely love that. And we love the community. And just being able to have all sizes in our store. A lot of boutiques don't do that. A lot of boutiques will cater to teenagers or cater to people that are size small. And we try to have a little bit of something for everybody. So a mother and daughter can come shopping together in the same store, be in the dressing rooms together, finding things together at the same time.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go to commercial break now. When I come back, I've got an Alabama A&M question to ask you. I'm going to dig deeper into that. So everybody stick around and we'll be right back.
The Community Difference-Rockwall is brought to you in part by Alan Lester, loan officer with the One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Delisa Lapinsky with Lapinsky Realty Group. Frank McLeod with Minuteman Press. Kane Pierce, Vice President and Commercial Banker for B1 Bank. Tamra Kollick with Speak. Charles Barnaby with Barnaby Heating and Air. Rynae Calder with Sunray Bookkeeping Services. And Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting. If you, or someone you know would like to sponsor, or be a co-host sponsor of this show, or other shows like it, please give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now, back to the show.
All right, we are back talking to Jamie Holton and Rick Stevens. They're sharing some information about their businesses right now. I'm going to get off topic just real quick, which I tend to do sometimes, but I always like those interesting stories. You grew up in Alabama. You went to A&M.
Don't ask me this question. Don't.
Who do you root for?
Do not.
Who do you root for? I'm going to ask you. How can I not? So I'm an Arkansas fan. Alabama just whipped our tail. Well, almost didn't whip our tail. We almost pulled it out.
So my family on both sides, my mother and father growing up, I mean, I lived in Tuscaloosa. So I think, I'm an Alabama fan at heart. It's like, it's not going to go out of my body. Like it's there. It's inside me, right? My grandmother graduated from the University of Alabama in her 70s.
Oh, wow.
And almost all of my family members graduated at normal ages, right? So I'm an Alabama fan and I'm a Texas A&M fan. When they play each other, it depends on the day. It depends on how.
But you're a winner either way, aren't you? I mean, the cool part, you can always say I won.
It just depends. I mean, I just wake up that day and I make a decision every single year. Since I've been having to make that decision. I didn't used to have to make that decision, right?
No, it's changing a little bit. But yeah, I had to ask that question because that's just
while we're off topic. While we're off topic, I have a funny short story that I think you'll both enjoy. Uncommon from a man from Texas, I'm not a huge football fan. And when we got to Alabama, we got involved in a church, and somebody gave me a hat because I wear a lot of hats, and it had the white A on it, and it was a red cap, and I didn't think anything about it. Right, I thought it stood for Alabama, the state. I didn't know it was a football team. I was walking through Walmart. And I didn't know Alabama was known for 2 college football teams. I was walking through Walmart, and this 80-something-year-old woman walked up to me and put her finger on my chest and said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And I was wearing that hat. And I was at Walmart outside of Auburn. They're driving in between stores, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And then later it was explained to me it's because I was wearing an Alabama hat. She was an Auburn fan. But I'll never forget that because I was so confused after that lady told me that.
I bet. That would have almost scared me to death. I wouldn't have known what to say. So, all right, great stories. We're going to go. I'm going to ask one more question of each one of you, and then we're going to get into our topic of how we balance work life, the challenges that come along there. For someone else looking to take the path that you've taken in life, what advice would you give them? We'll go with Jamie first.
I think if you decide that you want to have a storefront, you got to have thick skin. First of all, you got to be able to shop for things that you don't necessarily like. If you fill a store with only things that you like, you're not going to do well. And I think that you have to have a really good team around you because you don't want to be there all the time. I mean, you got to have a good team.
I got so many questions I'd love to ask. I have to ask one. How in the world I never thought about that, but having to buy things you don't like, is that not a challenge? I mean, does it just not go against every grain and fiber in your body that I'm buying, or do you just learn to do it? How do you learn to do it anyway?
Well, the way that I used to do it is I would just, when I go shopping. So in downtown Dallas, there's a big market, right? We go there, we shop for our clothes several times a year, and they'll have like ideas of what's been selling well. And I'm like, this is hideous, but it's been selling well. So, okay, I guess I should get it, right? But now what I do, like, it doesn't make sense to me. But now what I do is I bring my team with me. And they're all different ages, and they're all different sizes, and they're all different, ideas of, style or whatever. And I let them pick. And then, I kind of have the final say. And sometimes I'm like, okay, this is really stretching, what I'm okay with, but I'm going to get it because she's really, she chose this. And so that's how we do it now. We have everybody is a buyer for Mills Mercantile. Yes.
That's a good idea.
Awesome. Rick, for someone out there so we've had, I don't know how many nonprofits we've had. That's why we created the Difference Makers nonprofit showcase that we have. Talk to the people watching today and share some of the challenges or something that they may not understand about nonprofits that you guys have to go through. We may find interesting or change our perception on supporting and giving to nonprofits.
You'll have to forgive me. There was a little bit of feedback, so I'm not sure if I heard your entire question, but basically you want me to cover some perspective from the nonprofit side of someone who's in a nonprofit or starting a nonprofit, what some of those challenges and things like that, correct?
Yeah, even with just the people that might donate, support in any way, something that we need to understand so that we can be more helpful with nonprofits.
Okay, I'll get deep here for a second. I'll touch on a touchy subject. A lot of times when you're a donor to a nonprofit, and I donate to other nonprofits outside of Patriot Paws, you have to trust that the people that are doing their best to serve the community or doing what's best with your money in the best way that they know how. There's a lot of outside opinions that when money gets donated and they want it donated a certain way or they disagree with the decision, we're doing everything we can to be sure that your money is being used for how you would want it to be used. And it can be a little bit of a touchy subject, but sometimes people want things done a certain way, but they're not completely 100% involved to see the day-to-day operations of the organization. And sometimes I can't meet the necessary restrictions that are put on those funds. And sometimes donors want to know, well, why not? And there's a whole can of worms we can open and go into of why not, why some nonprofits can't meet those expectations. But the best thing that I would recommend is find something, if you're going to donate to a nonprofit, find a nonprofit obviously suits a passion that you have, and then be actively involved in that organization internally, volunteer, get involved, so that way you can see how your money is being spent. And for those that are donating from afar, that don't have the ability to come and get involved firsthand, there's multiple different online events that a lot of nonprofits throw. For example, we're streaming our graduation service or ceremony this Friday. There's also a lot of digital community events you can get involved to. We have newsletters, we do social engagements on social media. So get involved the best you can so that you can see how your donation is making a difference in the community and in the organization that you want to see make a difference in the world.
Awesome. All right. With that, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we're going to get into discussing work-life balance. We're going to spend a few minutes on that, get everybody's take on that. And then we're going to finish up with what we call rapid fires. So it'll be quick, short answer, trying to find somebody that will be willing to sing karaoke or something like that. I don't know. But everybody stick around because it might get entertaining. Y'all, we'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Are you looking for new or more reliable and affordable home services? Look no further than Utility Connect. At Utility Connect, we understand that every customer is different. Thanks to our partnership with The Difference, our free concierge service seamlessly shops all of your utilities and services for your home or business with one easy phone call. So what are you waiting for? Call Utility Connect today and experience the difference. For more information, give us a call at 469-414-2033 or visit us at www.utilityconnect.net/thedifference to learn more.
Are you a business owner looking to grow your company? Get fast, easy financing up to $5 million with no minimum FICO score required. Apply in 60 seconds and get funded in 24 hours. Call Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 to talk to a financing professional today. Your business's future is waiting. So don't delay. Call now and tell him that you saw him on The Difference.
And now back to the show.
All right, we are back. We're talking with Rick and Jamie, Rynae, and Delisa. I want to thank you all for being on today. Just real quick, we're still looking. We've got our fourth week of this show. We're looking to fill some spots for co-sponsors as well as co-hosts. So if you are if you're interested in being a part of the Community Difference-Rockwall, let us know. We'd love to get you plugged in, give you a chance to get your brand out in front of the Rockwall and surrounding communities and be seen, be heard, and be remembered. So we're going to talk now a little bit about our monthly topic, which is how do you approach work-life balance? Is it possible? Is it impossible? How do you manage it? And so I think I'm going to start with I'm going to go with Rynae first. I'm going to let Rynae go, and Rynae, just tell us what your challenges are, what you found to be most effective for you.
Well, I think when you own your own business and you work from home, I'm not just necessarily working from home, but that's what I do. I'm upstairs all day working. My husband is downstairs. He works for a big corporation and he's downstairs. And a lot of times we don't even see each other during the day. But, then the hour comes and, I should be turning work off. But sometimes that's really hard. In the past, just because you own your own business, there's always something you got to do, or you got to, look for the future, and you have a team to manage and so forth. And one thing, when you're first starting, I could work 12 hours a day. We don't have kids at home anymore. We're empty nesters. And so it was just easy to do. Luckily, my husband is very, very supportive of my job. And so if I'm working in the evenings, well, he's playing Xbox really. And so, that gives him an opportunity to go do his thing. But we do try to really be intentional about spending, some quality time together. And you've got to be able to, for us or for me this year, I've had to really evaluate my business and my workload and try to empower my team to take over some of those things while I'm not working all day, and just try to put some systems in place to be able to say, okay, I'm off.
There you go. Jamie, what about you?
Like she was just saying, you got to have a good team. I mean, that is crucial for me. They can run my stores. I don't have to be there. I'm there on Saturdays because it's super busy and I want to be there because it's fun. But other than that, I may pop in for a couple hours and then I go home. So I think, as long as you have a team you can trust, then that will get you very far. I also have learned that in order to have a good work-life balance, you have to have the energy to be able to figure it all out. And so I think just taking care of yourself is important. Eating right, not living on hamburgers from the drive-through. Once you start doing that, it's going to make you sluggish, and then everything's going to get out of whack. So that is a big key thing that I have learned. And also, I think it's good to have some boundaries. Like, for example, I don't work on Sundays. If you need me on a Sunday and it's an emergency, okay, you can call me, but I'm not going to work on Sundays. That is my day off. So.
Okay. Delisa, what about you?
I mean, I'm going to have to admit, I had struggled with work-life balance. I'm an empty nester. It's just me. So I could start working at 7 in the morning and go till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But the problem with that was I was burning out. And so I had to figure out something that I could do. So I started to subscribe to a 1-3-5. I take one day off a week for me. Every week, and that's in stone. It doesn't have to be the same day every week, but there's one day that is just a me day. Once a month, I take a 3-day weekend, okay, or I take 3 days off. And then once a quarter, I'll take 5 days off. So starting tomorrow is my 5 days off for my quarter. I'm going to be going down to the New Braunfels area. I'm spending some time with my daughter, my family, my nephew's racing down at CODA. So I'm going to be completely unplugged so I can devote that time for family time. And I will say that if I can do that in 85 to 90% of the time, I noticed a huge difference just in me, in taking care of me, because I've got to feel like I'm healthy. I've got to be recharged and revived in order to give it that 110% all the other times.
Absolutely.
I love that.
That's how I had to figure something out, because it was like, okay, this is crazy.
Yep.
Love it.
So 1-3-5, and that was really easy for me to remember.
I think that we miss the point a lot of times in taking that time off, the energy, the reinvigoration that we get, and it allows us to go back with such momentum that we're better performing in a shorter period of time than we were if we just drug it out. And for me, one of the things I had to learn is I'm like, okay, I'm just going to spend another hour so I'm ahead tomorrow. But I never got ahead tomorrow. That's the thing about it, because the further you get, the more you start to realize there's still more to do. But a lot of times it's just activity. It's not really anything that's going to be productive. And so I was finding things to do to satisfy that nervousness, I guess, I had, that I'm the one in charge. I've got to be working. I've got to be, I've got to stay ahead of the game. It's like being on the hamster wheel, right? That's the way I felt. What about you, Rick?
I'm in the trenches of it right now. I married a very strong, independent woman. She is a powerhouse of an attorney, and she's a franchise attorney. So she's working all the time. On top of that, we have a 1-year-old son. He's 14 months. Not that that makes any difference, but it was a struggle, especially getting into it. We didn't know that in today's world you have to book a daycare almost a year out in advance, and if you want to get a reputable one. So we went to put him in daycare and realized that wasn't going to be a snap of the finger thing, and had to wait almost a whole year to get him in a daycare. And so now he's in a great daycare. All that's good, but still. I think I've got it worse than most in some areas. That I live an hour away from Rockwall, and that's not intentional. It's just certain living situations that I can't really pass up. So on top of doing my best to run a nonprofit of 28 employees, to be a full-time husband and father, and then commute, 2 hours a day on top of all that. I'm in the thick of it, and I'm still, as you can probably tell, I'm tired as all get out, man. That kid has strep throat at the moment, and he was up a lot last night, and I'm still figuring it out. But kind of going back to what Jamie said, I have an absolutely wonderful team here at Patriot Paul's. We are blessed to have the individuals that have the passion that they do to serve our veterans. But there's a lot of people here of the service dog industry and they don't really think of how much goes into it. It takes a village. I mean, I have 85 dogs in our program right now, and you got to feed them and veterinary care and house them and all that stuff. So having a team that can handle things if I can't be there. For example, we learned our lesson from the daycare situation. So we're trying to get ahead, and we're looking at potential private schools and things like that. So we went and toured one this morning. And again, we're 4 years out from this ever being a reality, but my team is able to handle it for the hour or two that I couldn't be in. So I don't have a lot of advice or a lot of answers. I'm still in the trenches, still figuring out what works and what doesn't, especially with having a wife that is so passionate about what she does and so skilled at what she does. And we're not always there and connecting and parenting at the same time. So it's a challenge, and I love it, but I'm tired.
I just saw Matt said, he made a comment, and this is so true. And this is what is so hard, particularly, as business owners. Sometimes you just have to say no to either good ideas or things that people want from you, things that you need to do. Sometimes you just have to say no in order to keep that balance. And that's hard. I had a really hard time doing that.
Delisa, it's hard because we're in the service industry. Our job is to serve people. So when people ask, our natural reaction is to try to figure out how to give something, right? Because that's what we all do with our businesses. And you tell one yes, and you're afraid to tell one no, and all of a sudden you get overloaded. But I think that we have to remind ourselves that the more diluted we allow ourselves to become, the more it's going to have a negative impact on who we are as well as what we do. And so what I started doing, because I've had that's been a struggle of mine, is I wanted to say yes to everybody and figure it out later. And I started to realize that I felt like they weren't saying it, but I felt like I was letting people down because I just wasn't being able to meet the expectations that they thought I should be able to meet. So now I've had to start saying, look, I think what you're doing is wonderful. I'd love to be a part of it. But at this moment in time, I can't give to you what you deserve to get from me. And people are looking at me like, oh my God, that's, thank you for being honest. They're not offended. It's not a no. It's just, this would be a mistake for both of us if I were to try to take this on at the moment. So, all right, we got about 4 minutes left. We're about to blow everybody's mind now. Who's ready for the karaoke question? That's all I want to know. So we're going to do a thing, what we call rapid fire. And let me see here, make sure I've got everything up. So I'm going to go with around the horn. I'm going to ask Rick first. Rick, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Yeah, that's a good question. So after we get home and my wife gets home, I get home before my wife. There's only an hour before I get home and my wife gets home, and I'm entertaining the kid and feeding him. My goal, it brings me a lot of peace, and it also brings me, I guess, a lot of stress as well. But if I can have the kid taken care of before my wife gets home, and then all she has to do is enjoy him, and then we can put him to bed. And then my wife and I do our best to, some days we're successful, but some days we're not. But we like to make the house a calm environment. So we turn a lot of the lights off, and we may light a candle or two, and then we sit on the couch together and we just enjoy quality time with each other. And that brings me so much peace, and it helps me decompress. Because obviously anytime you marry anybody, that's your person, right? And so I love my wife dearly, and it just brings me so much peace that we can sit on the couch with each other 9 times out of 10 and kind of the glow of the TV light. And we just sit there and talk about whatever's going on in life, and we vent our stresses and our struggles. And that's probably my favorite thing. That's probably my go-to every day if I get the chance to do it. Sometimes life doesn't allow that.
All right. We're going to, Jamie, for you now, quick answer. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Other successful small business owners, specifically in the boutique industry. I follow a lot of big ones, and they're my inspiration.
Okay. Delisa, who inspires you?
My mom and dad inspired me because they were both entrepreneurs as well. And I could see some of the struggles and then also the benefits they had. They're no longer with me, but they really inspired me to take the leap.
Okay. Rynae, what's your secret talent that most people don't know about?
Well, I can outfish my husband any day.
That's a great talent.
Mhm.
That's awesome talent. So I can't wait to meet him tonight and ask him about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rick, real quick, what's your favorite? What is, if you could travel back in time to any historical event, what would it be?
Oh gosh. I'm going to sound cheesy, and I'm just a man that loves my wife to death. I'd love to travel back to the moment that I saw my wife for the first time and just tell myself, you have no idea how good it's going to be.
That is one of the best answers I think I've ever heard.
If I could go back, like there's nothing else I care about more than going back to that moment and seeing her again for the first time and just feeling that feeling again and just looking at myself and saying, hey man, it's going to be great.
That is so cool. You just got so many brownie points. So
I don't know if she'll watch this. We'll see.
Well, all right. So unfortunately, we're out of time. I wish we could have got to more. But I want to thank everybody. Delisa, Rynae, thank you for being part of the difference, bringing on Jamie and Rick. Jamie and Rick, thank you for being on. It's a pleasure meeting you, and would love to talk to you more. Everybody tune in. We'll be back next Wednesday, 2:30 for the Community Difference-Rockwall. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching today's show. The Community Difference-Rockwall is brought to you in part by Alan Lester, loan officer with the One Group with Town Square Mortgage. Delisa Lapinsky with Lapinsky Realty Group. Frank McLeod with Minuteman Press. Kane Pierce, Vice President and Commercial Banker for B1 Bank. Tamra Kollick with Speak. Charles Barnaby with Barnaby Heating and Air. Rynae Calder with Sunray Bookkeeping Services. And Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting. If you, or someone you know would like to sponsor, or be a co-host sponsor of this show, or other shows like it, please give us a call at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com.